is a feed of XML formatted for Indeed's XML feed, you use the plugin, you pass in the jobs, and you define which, in the bubble object, which fields match to which Indeed property. So this will ultimately produce a list of valid XML that Indeed can consume. And then in my backend workflows under here, and I've enabled those here, and when I enable these, it tells us what the base URL will be. So the URL for my Indeed XML feed will be the base URL which we just saw, plus Indeed XML. And I need to expose as a public API workflow endpoint, because we want Indeed to be able to access it. We want Indeed to be able to access it without authentication. And in this case, I'm ignoring the privacy rules because that just makes sense in this case. And it needs to be a GET. And then within that API workflow, firstly I generate the XML, and then in here I return data from an API, and under here I say other content type, and I set the content type to be application/XML, and the content of the that is returned will be the result of step 1. So what that means in here, and this won't work, to be clear, because this is a free bubble app. API endpoints don't work in a bubble app, but if you assume, just to illustrate, this URL, which is the domain of this app, version test, which is the version I'm looking at here, API, and this sort of copy this exactly. This is sort of locates the backend workflows for this app, and then when I click on it, it's going to say unauthorized. But if it was a paid for app, that would return the XML as you'd hope. It would return the XML that was generated here. So that is how you can create a XML endpoint URL.